Ethan loved his workshop more than anything else in the world. It sat at the edge of a quiet town, surrounded by tall trees that whispered with the wind. The building itself was nothing special from the outside, plain, slightly worn, and full of rusted tools hanging on the walls. But inside, it was a universe of creativity. Metal scraps, wires, nuts, bolts, and half-finished machines were scattered across benches and shelves. Each corner held a story of a failed experiment or a small triumph. For Ethan, this chaos was comforting. It was his world, a place where he could lose himself for hours and create things that mattered, even if no one else saw their value. That evening, the sky was painted with shades of orange and purple, the sun slowly disappearing behind the distant hills. Ethan was bent over a small mechanical arm he had been building for weeks, tightening a tiny screw that had refused to stay in place. The room was filled with the soft whir of small motors, the metallic clinks of tools, and the faint scent of oil and machine grease. He enjoyed the solitude, the feeling that in this space nothing could disturb him. Then a strange sound broke the rhythm, a soft, almost musical hum, coming from outside. Ethan froze, his hands mid-motion, and looked toward the door. At first he thought it might be a drone or one of the delivery bots from the tech lab a few miles away. But the sound grew clearer, more deliberate, almost alive. His heart began to beat faster, a mix of fear and curiosity swirling in his chest. The door slowly creaked open and he saw her. At first he could hardly believe his eyes. She wasn't human. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, reflecting the fading sunlight in tiny dancing patterns. Her large violet eyes seemed to hold galaxies within them, and her body moved with an elegance Ethan had never seen in any living creature. She floated just slightly above the ground, her presence graceful and calm, yet undeniably powerful. Ethan stepped back, unsure if he should greet her or run. But she didn't approach aggressively. Instead, she simply looked around, taking in every detail of the workshop. The scattered tools, the half-finished gadgets, the wires hanging like vines, and the faint smell of metal and oil. She didn't speak at first. She just observed, her eyes wide, shimmering with a strange mix of curiosity and awe. Finally, her voice broke the silence. It was soft, melodic, almost musical, yet hesitant. "Human, you make this?" she asked, her words careful, like she was afraid to mispronounce them. Ethan nodded, unsure what else to say. "You create," she whispered, stepping closer. She raised her hand as if to touch one of his machines, then hesitated, hovering just above the surface. "How? Why?" Ethan swallowed. "I like building things," he said simply. "Machines, tools. It helps me understand the world. I guess it's who I am." Her large eyes widened and she leaned closer to the mechanical arm he had been working on. When he flipped the small switch, the arm came to life, gripping and rotating with precise movements. She gasped softly, a sound that felt like music in the quiet workshop. "Incredible," she said. "You create this by hand?" Ethan shrugged, feeling suddenly small and proud at the same time. "Yeah, I guess. It's nothing compared to what your world can do, I'm sure." She shook her head slowly, her voice full of awe. "No, not nothing. This is extraordinary. I have seen advanced civilizations, great machines, but nothing built by heart. You build from yourself." Her words lingered in the air, warm and unexpected. Ethan didn't know what to say. Most people would have called the authorities or run away, scared by her otherworldly appearance. But she didn't seem threatening. She looked at him not with fear but with wonder. And in that moment, Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in years, recognized, seen. Not as a loner, not as a mechanic, but as a human being capable of creating something beautiful. The workshop felt alive that night, buzzing with more than the sound of machines. It hummed with possibility, with connection, with a quiet magic Ethan never thought he would experience. And somewhere deep inside he realized that his life was about to change forever. The alien woman stayed in Ethan's workshop longer than he expected. She floated slowly among the benches, her silver skin catching the dim light, reflecting patterns that danced across the walls like liquid stars. Every time she touched a machine, her fingers hovered above it for a moment, then grazed it lightly, as if afraid of breaking something fragile yet precious. Ethan watched quietly, both amazed and nervous. He had never seen anyone, human or otherwise, react to his work this way. "What does this do?" she asked softly. pointing to a small robot perched on the edge of a shelf. Its metal limbs were scratched and slightly bent from years of testing. Ethan picked it up, smiling at the memory. This little guy? It's a prototype. It can pick up objects, move them from place to place. Nothing fancy really, just useful, he said. She tilted her head, her violet eyes wide. Useful, but more than useful. It moves as if it thinks, as if it has intention. You gave it life. Ethan chuckled softly, scratching the back of his head. I don't know about life. I just try to make things work. She shook her head slowly, almost in disbelief. No, you humans. You are fragile, your body's weak, your time's short. Yet, you create. You build not just to survive, but to imagine, to hope. I do not understand this fully. On my world, machines exist to serve, but they do not dream. They do not feel. You give them heart. Ethan felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years, a strange pride swelling in his chest. Her words were foreign, yet they resonated deeply, like she was seeing something in him that even he had forgotten. I don't know if I would call it heart, he said quietly. I just like making things. It's how I think, how I express myself, I guess. The alien woman floated closer, her eyes reflecting every moving part in the room. She gently touched a music box on the shelf, its tiny gears whirring softly as it played a simple tune. Her hand lingered over it, almost as if she were listening to a voice from another world. Incredible, she whispered. Such small things, and yet they hold so much meaning. Your species, you put yourself into your creations. Every line, every turn, every mechanism carries a part of you. You make your soul tangible. Ethan swallowed hard. He hadn't expected her to understand or even to notice. Most people saw machines as tools, as cold metal and electricity, but she saw more. She saw the effort, the care, the dreams folded into every project. Why? Why do you care so much about these things? She asked, her voice tinged with genuine curiosity. On my planet, we have endless technology, endless machines. But we do not feel this connection. You make the impossible seem personal. Ethan looked around his workshop at the scattered tools, the scratched tables, the half-finished machines. He realized she was right. These were more than tools or experiments. They were pieces of his life, fragments of his mind, hopes he had poured into metal and wire. I just want to leave something behind, he said softly. Even if it's small, even if no one notices. I want it to mean something. To someone. Her large eyes glistened. You mean more than you know. In a universe so vast, your creations, they shine. Your species, humans, you endure, you build, you dream. Even from weakness, you create wonders. I have never seen anything like this. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. For the first time in his life, someone from another world, no less, had seen him truly. Not just his machines, not just his skill, but him. And the recognition, it filled a space he hadn't realized was empty for so long. She floated to the center of the room and looked around once more. Tell me, will you show me more? She asked, her voice soft but eager. I want to see all of it. I want to understand how you humans turn fragility into strength. Ethan smiled, a small, genuine smile. Then I guess we'd better get started. There's a lot to see, and a lot to build. And in that quiet workshop, amidst wires, oil, and metal, a strange bond began to form, between human and alien, between heart and machine, between wonder and creation. And Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Ethan led her deeper into the workshop, past tables cluttered with wires and screws, past shelves lined with gadgets that hummed quietly in the dim light. She floated along, her silver skin reflecting the soft glow of hanging lamps, her violet eyes wide with awe. Every time she saw a device, she paused, sometimes tilting her head, sometimes reaching out a finger to trace the edge of a machine without touching it. This one? Ethan asked, pointing to a small robot that was missing a wheel and had wires sticking out in odd directions. She gasped softly. It moves? Ethan pressed a button and the robot sprang to life, wobbling slightly before balancing and rolling forward. It carried a small wrench in its grip, perfectly placing it on a nearby shelf. Her eyes widened even more. You built this by hand? Ethan nodded, smiling faintly. Yeah, just spent a few months figuring it out. She floated closer, studying it from every angle. Incredible. Your species. You're small, fragile, but you can build things that are strong, that work. Things that think. Ethan's chest tightened. There was something in her voice, respect, wonder, maybe even awe. He had never felt anyone, human or alien, look at his work like this. Most people would dismiss it, call it toys or junk, but she understood it, truly understood it. He led her to another section of the workshop where he had a small music box and a model of a bridge he had built out of scrap metal. The bridge was delicate, almost impossible looking, yet it held weight when he placed a small crate on it. Your machines, they are not just tools, she whispered. They are art. They are proof of your species' will. I cannot believe. Humans can create such things. Ethan shrugged. I just try to make things work. Sometimes it fails, sometimes it surprises me. She shook her head slowly, her voice soft. No, failure is part of creation, part of your humanity. You do not give up. You adapt. You build from what you have. That is remarkable. Her eyes scanned the workshop again, lingering on the smallest details. The way a loose wire curled over a table, the scratches on an old wrench, the faded drawings pinned to the wall. You put yourself into everything, even the broken things. They tell your story. Ethan felt something warm spread through him, something he hadn't felt in years. She wasn't just complimenting him. She was seeing the effort, the struggle, the hope that he had hidden in these machines. She was seeing him. I don't know if it's that important, he said quietly. I just build because I can. Because I need to, her eyes glimmered. That is enough. That is more than enough. Many civilizations have great technology, but few put themselves into it. You humans. You endure, you hope, you create. You make miracles from nothing. Ethan swallowed hard. He had always felt small in the vast universe, just one human among billions. Nothing compared to the stars, the planets, the advanced beings that surely existed. And yet here she was, an alien from a distant world, telling him that what he did mattered, that humans mattered. She reached out, hovering over a tiny robot he had abandoned months ago. I have never met a species like yours, she said softly. You are fragile, yes, but in your fragility, you create strength. You turn your limits into possibilities. Ethan's eyes welled up slightly. I guess that's why I keep building, even when it seems useless. I keep trying, because I want to prove something to myself, to the world. Her gaze softened, and for a moment the hum of machines and the smell of metal and oil felt alive with something more. It was hope, it was connection, it was recognition. Show me everything, she whispered, almost pleading. I want to see all of it. I want to understand how humans take their weakness and make it extraordinary, Ethan smiled. Then we've got a long night ahead of us. There's more than you can imagine. And so they continued, human and alien, surrounded by metal and machines, by failures and triumphs alike. In that small workshop at the edge of town, something rare was happening. Not just curiosity, not just fascination, but understanding, a bridge between worlds, a bond forged in the quiet language of creation. As the night grew darker, a cool breeze slipped through the slightly open window, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth. The alien woman floated near the center of the workshop, her eyes scanning every machine, every gadget, every piece of scrap metal scattered around. For hours she had watched Ethan work, asked questions, and marveled at the things he had built. But now a shadow of seriousness crossed her face. You humans, she said softly, almost hesitantly, you create amazing things. Machines that move, that think, that help you survive. But are they enough? Ethan paused, wiping his hands on a rag. Enough for what? He asked, though he already felt the weight in her words. For challenges beyond your world, she said. Storms that can tear a city apart. Energies that you cannot control. Disasters that would destroy your species if you were not careful. Could your kind survive there? He felt a chill despite the warmth of the workshop. She wasn't questioning his skills or his machines, she was questioning humanity itself. And in that question, there was a hint of doubt, of disbelief. Could humans really stand against the vast, untamed universe? Ethan walked over to a small drone he had built weeks ago. It was simple but functional, capable of flying, mapping terrain, and carrying small supplies. He set it on the table and pressed a button. It lifted smoothly, hovered, then zipped around the room, avoiding obstacles with surprising precision. This, he said quietly, is just a prototype. But humans, we've survived worse than you imagine. Wars, diseases, storms, even famine. And we've built things, tools, machines, vehicles, to keep going. To survive. To keep dreaming. Her eyes widened, shimmering violet in the dim light. She floated closer to the drone, her hand almost touching it. I see your cleverness. But your species, you are fragile. Your bodies are soft, your lifespan short. Could you endure a world where my people would fail? Ethan looked at her, his heart racing but his voice steady. We might be fragile, yes, but we adapt, we invent, we try again. That's how humans survive. That's how we turn weakness into strength. She hovered silently for a moment, studying him, the drone, the scattered machines, as if weighing his words against her knowledge of the universe. Your technology, it is limited, but your spirit, it is limitless. You build not just to endure, but to overcome. That is what surprises me most. He felt a surge of pride, but also a quiet fear. She came from a world so far away, a world of advanced knowledge and unimaginable power, yet she seemed almost astonished by humans. It was humbling, but also inspiring. Ethan reached over to another device, a small robot designed to carry supplies through uneven terrain. It struggled at first, tipping over, but after a few adjustments it moved steadily, navigating obstacles with precision. See, he said softly, even small things, even imperfect things, we make them work. We keep trying. That's humans. We endure and we improve. We don't give up. Her eyes glistened, a mix of emotion he could not identify. Amazement, respect, perhaps hope. I have never encountered a species like yours. You are fragile, yet unbroken. You are weak, yet strong. You fail, yet you rise again. You turn limits into miracles. Ethan swallowed hard. For the first time, he realized that this wasn't just about machines or inventions. It was about the human spirit itself. It was about the stubborn hope, the tireless effort, the quiet courage that defined their species. She floated closer, her voice soft, almost reverent. I came here to understand you, to understand your creations, but I think I understand now. It is not just the machines. It is you, humanity, your resilience, your creativity. That is what makes you extraordinary. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. In the quiet workshop, surrounded by metal and light, surrounded by the humming of machines and the presence of an alien being, he realized something profound. Humans might be small, weak and ordinary in the grand cosmos, but their heart, their mind, their spirit, that was nothing short of miraculous. She looked at him one last time that night, her eyes shining. You are remarkable, she whispered. And your creations, they are proof. Proof that even fragile beings can astonish the universe. And for the first time, Ethan truly believed it. Hours had passed, and the night outside had deepened. The workshop was dimly lit by a few hanging bulbs, their soft glow reflecting off the alien woman's silver skin. Ethan and his visitor sat among scattered tools, half-finished machines, and the quiet hum of his creations. There was no rush, no urgent purpose, just the two of them sharing a strange, unspoken understanding. She floated closer to him, her violet eyes filled with curiosity, wonder, and something he could not quite name, something like longing. I have seen countless civilizations, she said softly, her voice musical and gentle. But never a species like yours. You humans. You create not only for survival, but for meaning, for hope, for beauty. Ethan blinked, feeling the weight of her words. He had never thought about it in that way. To him, the workshop was just a place to tinker, to fix things, to make life a little easier. But she saw something else, something bigger. She saw the heart behind the hands, the story behind the machines. I guess I never thought about it like that, he said quietly. I just build because I need to, because I can, because it feels right. She tilted her head as if trying to understand. And yet, in this small room, in these machines, you show something rare, a courage, a determination, a soul, your species. You carry light where there is none. Even in fragility, you shine. Ethan felt warmth in his chest, a mix of pride and humility. He had never expected someone, especially someone from another world, to see humans like that. She made him feel seen, truly seen. Not as a mechanic, not as a lone human tinkering in a workshop, but as a part of something extraordinary. He picked up a tiny robot he had abandoned months ago. Its metal body was scratched, its movements awkward, but it had survived trials and errors. I keep trying, he said softly, even when things fail. Even when people don't notice, because maybe one day it will matter, maybe someone, or something will see the effort behind it. She floated closer, her hand hovering above the small robot. I see it, she said, her voice almost trembling. I see you, and your species. You endure, you hope, you create, and even in the smallest things you leave a mark. That is beautiful. For a moment, silence filled the workshop, broken only by the soft whirs and clicks of Ethan's machines. Then she spoke again, her tone soft, almost intimate. I have lived among logical, precise civilizations, ones that value efficiency above all else. But they do not build from heart. They do not create from struggle, from dreams, from hope. Humans. You do. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. Her words were not just admiration, they were recognition. She recognized the HFY. Fort the failures, the hope, and the courage that humans carried quietly, often unnoticed. You carry something rare, she whispered. I thought I understood life, creation, intelligence. But you defy my expectations. You make me believe that even the smallest, weakest beings can leave a mark on the universe. Ethan swallowed hard. He had always thought humans were ordinary, fragile, replaceable. And yet, in the presence of this alien woman, he felt the truth of something greater. Humans might not be the fastest, the strongest, or the most advanced, but they could endure, create, and inspire awe in the most unlikely places. She hovered silently for a moment, then placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You are remarkable, she said softly, her eyes glimmering. And your creations. They are proof that humans can astonish worlds. Ethan's chest tightened. For the first time, he realized that his small workshop, his scattered machines, and his quiet persistence were more than just hobbies. They were a testament to humanity itself, the endless hope, the stubborn courage, the drive to create despite odds, and in that moment, he understood that this connection, the understanding, the admiration, the respect, was something extraordinary, not just between him and her, but between his species and the universe. Humans were fragile, yes, but their hearts, their minds, their dreams, they were infinite. She smiled at him, a rare, soft, and gentle smile that lit the room brighter than any bulb could. I will carry this with me, she whispered. I will tell others. Your kind is not just capable, you are extraordinary. Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of warmth and purpose he had never known. In that quiet workshop surrounded by metal, oil, and machines, a bond had formed. A bond between worlds, between hearts, and between dreams. And for the first time, he truly believed that humans could astonish the universe. The first hints of dawn began to light the horizon, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and gold. Ethan's workshop, usually quiet and still at this hour, felt alive with the memory of the night. Machines hummed softly, tools glinted in the morning light, and the alien woman floated near the center of the room, her silver skin glowing faintly in the dawn. Ethan watched her, a strange mix of admiration and sadness filling him. He knew her visit could not last forever. She had come from a distant world, a civilization beyond his imagination, and soon she would return to it. Yet the thought of her leaving brought a weight he had not anticipated. I should go soon, she said softly, her voice carrying a melodic sadness. My ship awaits. I cannot stay longer. Ethan nodded, though he felt his chest tighten. I understand, but will you come back? His voice was quiet, almost hesitant, as if speaking it aloud might make it real. She floated closer, her violet eyes reflecting the machines, the workshop, and something deeper, hope, perhaps, or the connection that had formed over these hours. If you keep building, she said softly, if you continue to create, I will return. I will see what humans can do next. I will witness your spirit, your heart, and your ingenuity. That, I promise. Ethan swallowed hard. He had never received a promise like that before. Not from anyone, let alone a being from another world. Somehow her words made his work feel larger, more meaningful. It was no longer just machines and tools. It was a testament to what humans could accomplish, a proof of endurance, of creativity, of hope. She floated slowly around the workshop, her hand brushing over the tops of machines as if saying goodbye to old friends. I will tell my people, she said. I will tell them. Your kind is extraordinary, that even fragile beings can leave a mark on the universe, that humans create not just with hands but with heart, with courage, with determination. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. Thank you, he said quietly, for believing in us, for seeing what we are, even when we often doubt ourselves. Her eyes softened, and for a moment she simply floated there, silent, letting the words hang between them. Then she spoke, her voice almost a whisper. I have met many species, but none like yours. You are remarkable, and I will carry this with me across the stars, across worlds. Your creations, your spirit, they will be remembered. Ethan stepped closer, feeling the enormity of what she had said. I hope so, he said. I just keep building because it feels right. Because I can. I never thought anyone from anywhere would see it this way. She smiled, a soft, radiant smile that seemed to fill the workshop with light. I see it, I feel it. And that is enough, that is everything. The sound of her ship humming outside grew louder, signaling that it was almost time. Ethan's heart thumped in his chest. He wanted to say more, to ask her to stay, to promise that humans could astonish her again and again, but the words felt small against the enormity of what had happened. She paused at the door, turning back to look at him one last time. Her violet eyes glimmered with emotion. Keep building, Ethan, keep dreaming, keep creating. That is what makes you, and your species, extraordinary. I will return to see it, and I will tell the universe about humans who never stop, who never give up, who turn fragility into strength. Ethan nodded, unable to find words that felt worthy of her promise. Instead, he simply watched as she floated into the ship, the light from inside reflecting off her shimmering skin, and then she was gone. The workshop was quiet once more, bathed in the soft glow of dawn. Ethan walked through it slowly, touching the machines, the scattered tools, the reminders of his nights and years of work. For the first time, he felt a sense of purpose deeper than pride or satisfaction. He was not just building for himself, he was building for humanity, for hope, for a future that stretched beyond Earth, beyond imagination, and somewhere far across the stars, a silver-eyed alien would carry the story of what humans could do. Ethan picked up his wrench, smiling softly, and whispered to himself, then I guess there's still a lot to build. The workshop was silent now, bathed in the soft golden light of morning. The hum of machines was gentle, almost comforting, but there was an emptiness in the air where the alien woman had stood just hours ago. Ethan walked slowly between the scattered tools and half-finished gadgets, his fingers brushing over metal surfaces, each one carrying memories of nights spent alone, trying, failing, and trying again. He thought of her words, of her awe, of the promise she had made. Somewhere across the stars she would carry the story of humans, of their fragile bodies, their short lives, and yet their remarkable hearts. It was hard to imagine, but he felt it in his chest. Humans were more than just a species. They were endurance, hope, and creativity wrapped into one. And in that realization, Ethan felt a quiet fire ignite inside him. He picked up a small scratched robot he had abandoned months ago. Its movements were jerky, its paint chipped, yet it had survived. He pressed the button and it came to life, wobbling forward as if greeting him. Ethan smiled, a deep, honest smile. You've survived, he whispered. Just like us. For a long time, he simply watched it move, thinking about the countless failures, the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt that had built not only the robot, but himself. Humans were not perfect. They fell, they struggled, they broke, but they always got up again. They found a way. They endured. Ethan's thoughts drifted to the alien woman, to her wide violet eyes, to the awe and respect she had shown. She had seen what humans often overlooked in themselves, their ability to create, to imagine, to persevere against impossible odds. And she had understood it. She had carried hope back to her world, showing that humanity could astonish even the farthest reaches of the universe. A sense of pride and responsibility settled over him. His creations, his machines, his little workshop, they were not just tools or toys. They were symbols of humanity itself. Each wire, each gear, each imperfectly soldered connection carried the essence of humans. Persistence, ingenuity, and heart. Ethan picked up a new piece of metal, smooth and blank, ready to become something. His mind raced with possibilities. Machines to build, ideas to test, dreams to shape into reality. He didn't need an audience, he didn't need recognition. But now he knew that what humans could create mattered, not just on Earth but beyond. Somewhere, across galaxies, someone believed in their spirit. The wind outside rustled the trees, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth. Ethan imagined her ship flying through space, her eyes reflecting his workshop and the humans she had come to understand. And he realized something profound. Humans were fragile, yes, but their strength was not in their bodies or technology. It was in their heart, their mind, and their unyielding spirit. He began working again, assembling parts, tightening screws, connecting wires. Each movement was deliberate, filled with intention and care. He built not for profit, not for fame, but because it was what humans did. They made, they created, they endured. Hours passed, the sun climbing higher, filling the workshop with warmth. Ethan paused for a moment, looking around at the scattered tools, the machines whirring softly and the spaces waiting to be filled with creation. He realized that the universe might be vast, full of powerful beings and impossible worlds. Yet humans had something no one else could replicate. Their resilience, their creativity, their hope. These were their superpowers. He smiled, lifting a half-finished mechanical arm and holding it to the light. Somewhere, an alien being would witness its perfection and imperfection alike, and she would know the Kai.